Good evening, everyone, and welcome to 7 with Kevin Live. I am Kevin Maynard. I'm the Executive Director of Quad City Arts, where our mission is to enrich the quality of life in the Quad City region through the arts. Now, to do this, we work with hundreds of artists throughout the region who work in a number of mediums and genres. And our community benefits from their performances, their public art installations, and their gallery exhibitions. Working here at Quad City Arts, we have an opportunity to work closer with these artists and learn more about them. And that's what 7 with Kevin is all about, because we want to share that with you. So why 7 with Kevin? Well, we named the series after a monthly newsletter that I write. In that newsletter, I share 7 things. It ranges from things that I'm excited about to things that I'm working on to things that I'm just interested in. So we created a list of 7 questions that fit that criteria. So basically it's a little random, a little fun, and hopefully a little thought-provoking. Now, if you have never read that newsletter, you can sign up for it at our website, quadcityarts.com. And if you are joining us live tonight and you have a question, go ahead and put that in the comment box. Tuning in live but don't have a question? Let us know where you're joining us from or who you're watching this with this evening. Tonight, we will be talking with Quad City Arts Performing Arts Director, Margo Day. Now, Margo's largest responsibility is our Visiting Artist Series, and I want Margo to tell you more about that. So Margo, welcome to 7 with Kevin Live.
Hi, Kevin. Good to see you.
You too. Margo, let's go ahead and get started. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, long ago, I used to be a high school English and journalism teacher. So if any of my former students, you're not going to be graded on this. There will not be a quiz. Don't worry. So after that, then I switched to teaching as an adjunct instructor at Scott and Muscatine Community Colleges. And I got to work for a little while in the newsroom at the Quad City Times as a news aide. And then I started at Quad City Arts in 2015. So it's been 5 whole years. Some days it feels very short. Some years it feels very long. I actually applied for a completely different job at Quad City Arts. And when there was an opening for this director of the Visiting Artist Series, the current executive director at the time, Carmen Darlin, looked at my resume and she did some informal interviews with me. She said later that my background in education stuck out. And so that's how I got to be in this role.
Excellent. Well, I can tell everybody that that has certainly paid off, and I think we'll touch on that a little bit later this evening. But let's go ahead and talk about the Visiting Artist Series. So what is the Visiting Artist Series?
That's the $1 million question. I get it a lot. In fact, if anybody who's watching this wants to put their questions about the series in the comments, we can certainly get to them because people do ask me questions and there are some misconceptions. I've met a lot of people who think they know what the program is, but they aren't really sure. It's okay. So the more you ask, the more you're going to know. And I'd like to teach people. Anyway, I think a lot of local people are aware that we have a program that's similar to what the Symphony does with their outreach. The River Music Experience also works in schools. The Mississippi Valley Blues Society also brings musicians to schools for performances, but our program is different, and we'll talk about how different it is. Overall, if you want a really quick summary, the Visiting Artist Series is a performing arts residency program. We host artists in music and theater and dance to visit the Quad Cities for a week and provide educational performances at schools and community sites.
Excellent. So in a traditional year, how does that work?
Really smooth. It's perfect. It's flawless and it's easy. This year, but normally we actually start the whole process about 18 months before an artist even arrives. So we have been working on the season we were supposed to be in right now since 2018, I want to say. It's been a long time. And it takes a long time because it's a very big program. Normally, we start the season at the beginning of the academic year. It was based on serving schools, so we matched the school calendar. For example, we were planning to host a piano trio for school and community visits last week, but COVID changed that. So they are not joining us this year. They're delayed. We normally host artists from September through early May. That's the season we normally look at. And every day of the visit, when they're in residence, artists go out to 3 locations. Normally we do a morning one, maybe one just before lunch, and an afternoon one. Sometimes we swap one of those out for an evening performance. We have a lot of public performances for the artists too, and we work with community venues to hold a public concert to wrap up that residency.
Excellent. So in a typical season, how many artists or groups visit our community?
When I started back 5 years ago, we only had 7 artists because we were sort of still scaled down from the 2018 financial crisis. We went small and efficient, but in the past couple of years, we've hosted about a dozen artists. So we have grown the roster back up this year with our own program that's a little different. We're starting with 11 artists, and we'll add more if it's successful.
Excellent. So this is probably my favorite question because this always blows me away. How many students see a visiting artist in the Quad Cities in a traditional year?
So in a traditional year, like 2 years ago, that was 18-19, almost 33,000 students, 33,000. Did I get it right? That many kids saw a visiting artist in their school or at their after-school programs or at a library performance. Last year, that number was 26,000, which is still an incredibly high number, and it's a very good goal. But it's lower because we had 2 major residencies canceled in the spring because of COVID. This year, I'm hopeful that we can still get numbers in the thousands with our new project, even though it won't be in person.
So I think that is well, actually one more question about a traditional year and kind of how things change. But
Yeah.
How is our residency program different from others in the nation?
There's 2 words that I actually just came across, and they're 5 letters each. They both start with S's. You can remember it by scale and scope. Those are way different than anybody else. The Dubuque Arts Council actually has an artist in residence program that is slightly older than our 47-year-old program, but they only host 4 music ensembles a year. Some other programs around the country, they host a dozen artists like we do, but it's only in theater or it's only in music for a couple of days, like a Monday through a Thursday. We host a lot of artists for a week, which is a really long time, for a lot of performances. It's about 16 performances per residency. That's including the public concert. And we draw on talent from the United States and abroad. And we do music and theater and dance, and it's massive. It's a good thing, but it's a lot. Whoa! I mean, I get tired every time I have to do the elevator speech about that. It's like, oh my gosh. There's a couple other reasons it's really unique. We don't have our own theater space. As you know, if you've ever been down to the gallery, we have a gallery space. We don't have something like, a venue like the old Mark. If that was our space, it'd be different. We don't have that. We're also a nonprofit organization. We're not a for-profit venue, so we're not about selling tickets, butts in seats, as the phrase goes. We also have a community committee to support and advise the program, which is pretty unique. It's not me or you and me and some other people on staff. It's that this committee gets to decide and advise what should be brought in. And we would love to have input from teachers and parents. So if you're a teacher or a parent out there and you have an idea or a request for a genre or a type of artist you want your kids to see, please put it in the comments and let me know, because that helps us quite a bit. We're also not associated with a college or a university. We're sort of out there on our own deciding that this was a good idea, and it stuck for over 45 years. I really don't think that anyone would launch a program today that looks like this series, unless you're like Bill Gates, but who is?
Well, I think, there's a lot of things you touch on that are excellent points. The very the unique nature of our visiting artist series program is also plays into the difficulty of your job. I mean,
Yeah.
Working with a new agent or a new artist, you have to explain this program in a new way every time. Because I think, the other thing is that, for a lot of residency programs, as you mentioned, they're in a theater, they're typically one or, a performance a day, where these are, when you say that, there's 3 outreaches in a day, those are typically in 3 different schools. and we have a 6-county region. So
Yeah.
it's they really get to enjoy the Quad Cities and see
Yeah.
every aspect
Oh,
of
they
it.
do.
So
They meet a lot of people. They go a lot of places. We don't drive them. That's one thing that used to happen is we used
mm,
to have a committee person drive these people around, and now we sort of hand them their keys, and if they're renting a car, or just kind of load a map up on their phone and say, "Off you go. We'll see you there. Bye," and let them drive around the Quad Cities. So it's a little weird.
so yeah, it's a very self-sufficient program for
Oh yeah,
those artists. It's really impressive to see how quickly they adapt and jump right into it. So
it is.
uh, so obviously, Margot, the big question, you know, what is happening with the Visiting Artist Series this year?
Well, first of all, if you're in the office every once in a while, or maybe if you've talked to me lately, I would have told you it's not dead. It's not going away. It just changed. Like
Mhm.
everything else that's been an in-person event this year, we had to reinvent it. Every other season has been about having an artist in a school gym or in an auditorium in
Mm.
front of students. When that wasn't an option, I thought that an online database or resource center might work.
Yeah. So, how did you come to that idea? I mean, how, and I know that it's evolved since we first started
Yeah.
talking about it. And so, how has it evolved?
Well, when I was a teacher, one of the resources we had to connect with students to get extra information that was vetted and reliable was this access to the Area Education Agency's portal for digital content. And that's a mouthful, it's from their website. If we wanted to research a topic in several U.S. newspapers, we just log the kids in to this database, and there's all these newspapers available, so they could scan through it, get the reliable information, and then use that for the resource material. There's also been a lot of online resources that other, say, venues and performing arts centers and schools have posted when the schools suddenly closed in the spring.
Mm.
So we just sort of took the model of what other venues and other sites were doing to get content out to students and families that couldn't go someplace in person. And I thought we could use those websites as a model for what an online residency might look like.
Excellent. And I also think it's worth kind of pointing out is that your education background really helped play into this, and that it wasn't just you or just members of Quad City Arts that you reached out to
No.
other people in the community. So.
Yeah, we were lucky enough that we had time, I want to say in June and July, that we sent out a really surprisingly well received and well responded survey to community members. We reached out to the teachers that we're normally in contact with. We reached out to some community members, people that are associated with us, and said, "What do you want to see in the Visiting Artist Series?" And they gave us great feedback, and they helped us shape, like the roster, for example. A lot of those roster choices match up with the top requests from the
Mm.
teachers for what they want to see online. And it was really easy. I mean, we've got smart people around here, and they know their students. They know good art. They know what is going to work well in their classrooms. And luckily, we had the resources so we could just make that match happen.
Yeah, I think for me, what I found most interesting was the recommendations on the length of the videos.
Oh yeah.
When you start talking about a performance or something like in the classroom, those are happening for 45, 50 minutes. And
Yep.
so initially, I think my original thought was, oh, we just cut that in half. We make a 20-minute video.
Yeah.
And what we end up learning was that they wanted something shorter, a little more bite size. And I think that that's just it's been really great to be able to put that together, and I'm excited to deliver that,
Yeah.
knowing that people have had an opportunity to give that feedback. So
Yeah.
talking about the digital portal, digital resource center. So can you share any of the artists that will be involved with this? So
Yeah, I'm actually excited because at this point last year we were like already running through it. We're presenting, we're having concerts, everything's been promoted, so it's like sitting, waiting to open a present and go, oh, look what we have. And really, I think people should feel like it's kind of a badge of honor for some of these artists because they're getting a chance to be involved with the series that is award winning. We did win an award in 1999 from the Association for Performing Arts Presenters. Did I get the acronym correct? It's APAP. But we got the William Dawson Award in 1999 for how we ran the series back then. And I think this new model might possibly get us some recognition. But artists know about it. They have, colleagues and they have friends that have been through the program. And they say, yeah, you should go do this residency. It's tough, but you learn a lot as a musician. And it really expands your audience because you're in front of a lot of different people. So yeah, we have a good roster, and these artists, they wanted to be participating. It's a good way to keep them busy because a lot of their events, they're gone, they're canceled, they're not on tour, they're not leaving home, they haven't been busy, and this sort of gets them back in the routine of being engaged with an audience. So I'll shut up and get to the list of artists. We had two that were canceled this spring. We had a steel pan artist by the name of John Patty. He's from Florida. And we've got a picture. There's John. John was supposed to be with us in late March, but of course that's post-COVID time. So he got his whole weekend residence canceled. We'll try to reschedule, of course, if you're a big John Patty fan. But for now, he is going to be participating in this residency series and some other programs. We also have Jarabe Mexicano. They are a folk Latin rock Tex-Mex band. They were supposed to be with us in early April. We had like 10 days in residency. There they are. Great guys. They're from California, Arizona area. And they were supposed to be here with us. We were supposed to have these great collaborations, this great concert with like the families and like a reception hour. And it got canceled. So they're bummed. We're bummed. But they do have content. It's both videos and it's documents. So if you're trying to set up a lesson plan, you could read something and then have the kids watch it, or watch something and then sort of do the work afterwards. So it's very complimentary. And that's the first two artists we're going to have. We're also posting content from storyteller Reggie Harris and dance troupe Chicago Dance Crash. They both visited us last spring and they liked us so much they came back, which is great because when they first came, it was a kind of crummy winter and it was cold and it was dark, but they were so energetic and the kids just warmed up to them. And we had so many compliments and it was just, they built up such energy. It's like, what do? We bring them back. And I think we've got a performance from Chicago Dance Crash when they visited Harrison Elementary School in Davenport. Come on, sound.
So it looks like our sound isn't working here. So I'll explain like what they're actually teaching the children to dance. Some dance moves there, and that was actually one of the biggest feedbacks from their residency was just how excited teachers were and educators were that they were engaging those students in that way. I will say that clip, it's a lot harder than it looks.
Oh, it absolutely is. I've tried it. I was there in person recording it, obviously. I've watched the video at home and I've tried doing it. It's called tutting. They're excellent at it. They're high quality tutters. And they're going to have another video included in this resource website so kids can work on their dance moves. They can include it as part of their physical activity. They're just a great group to work with. And the funny thing about that exact performance was, they normally have teachers sort of around the outside of the gym and the kids sit in the middle in little rows. So the teachers are all sitting in their chairs, just sort of watching, and you can see that the shoulders are going on the teachers. And some of these, I would say, are established teachers. They're nearing retirement and they're pretty formal. They know what the routine is, but they're like, okay, I gotta pop. They were trying it and they were into it. And I'm like, well, I gotta try it. I still haven't done it well.
They are an engaging group. So.
Oh, yeah. Another group we have from Chicago is Hipley Ballet. They are a hip-hop ballet company. Their director has fused those two art forms. So they do on-point dancing, but they do it to hip-hop music. They include hip-hop movements. They are super innovative. They're really in demand. They were actually featured in a music video for Shawn Mendes' song Youth. So if you go to YouTube, look at Shawn Mendes' song Youth, these ladies are in there and they're giving us some content. Hopefully we can bring them back for performances in the Quad Cities once we can do in-person things again. We've got another group, Hoatsu Taiko. It's a Japanese drumming group from Chicago. They've been close to the Quad Cities, but never in the Quad Cities, and they're going to participate and give us content. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We just, got a couple things, but we've got more than that. So you'll have to sign up and see.
So speaking of, how can people get access?
So we're looking to share these online resources with teachers of all kinds. If you could be a kindergarten teacher, you could be in preschool, you could be a classroom teacher, you could be an instrumental teacher at the high school level. We're also looking to help out parents who are doing homeschooling and any other educators. So if you're serving education, say in a detention center or at a hospital setting, yeah, you should definitely sign up. It's going to be really accessible for students as long as there's an internet connection. It's going to be available 24/7. So we don't have the limits of the school days. So it's been very hard to put all these residency activities between 7:30 in the morning and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But now it's, if you want to do school at 2 o'clock on a Sunday, it's going to be there for you. So the interested teachers, they should just sign up on our website when the gates open and we launch this beautiful project. Then you just get logged in and access all the materials. A really cool thing is that for the first time with these really large groups of artists and residents, all of the artists are going to be available. So you're not just seeing one or two, you get to see everything we offer.
That's a great point. And I think it is worth pointing out that the portal and everything is being built right now. So this is more or less a teaser. And so in the next few weeks, we'll be really pumping out a lot of information to share this. I think if Margo hasn't conveyed it, we're really excited to share that with everyone. So this also sort of transitions into another portion of what we do here at Quad City Arts, which is our Performing Arts Signature Series, or PASS for short. Margo, can you explain to people watching what PASS is?
It's a unique event. So besides having to explain a residency to these artists and their agents and their managers, I have to say, okay, and here's this other thing on your schedule. So we take all the artists and residents and we pick 6. So they're sort of the featured ones. And we set up a short 30-minute, 25-minute performance for a ticketed audience. So people buy tickets, they go to a really nice kind of exclusive venue we've selected. They get to have some heavy hors d'oeuvres, they get to have some cocktails, they get to have a little mingling, chatter time. And then it's an evening party where we celebrate what these visiting artists have done in their residency work. We celebrate their performance. We let them play for us and talk about their residency work. And then at the end, usually the people in the audience get a chance to talk with these artists, which is the most interesting thing to me, is to see people that they're just mingling with, these really elaborate dancers, or these actresses, or these super quality singers. And we've got a video from a PASS that we did last September, I want to say. So that was the string quartet, Julius Quartet, and we had a PASS at a private airport hangar at the Davenport Municipal Airport, which was sort of a new exclusive thing. And as you can tell, people were just enamored, and they were a great group to have. And they definitely got off the stage afterwards and walked around and mingled with people, answered questions, gave stories, and they were just sort of open to conversation and making it a community event.
Yes, and they were actually a really great fit for that venue, because obviously, like, with it being an airport hangar, it's very cavernous, and so the strings just really played well with the acoustics in there. And also one of my favorite things or aspects of the PASS series is the fact that as an audience member, you were able to ask a question and you're able to find out and really see what these artists are doing in the schools, because obviously they're not doing the exact same materials or the exact same program when they get in front of our PASS audience, but the audience is able to ask them and find out, I think one of my favorite questions is always, what kind of questions are you being asked in the schools? And it varies depending on, if they're seeing kindergarten classes or if they're seeing high schoolers. But it just really highlights the importance of that program. And it gives them an opportunity for the artists to really share their experiences. And, you know, what is interesting, and you touched on it earlier, is that the artists end up learning a lot and end up really valuing the program for very different reasons than obviously we value it for.
Yep. That's true.
So obviously we this year aren't going to be gathering in an airport hangar.
Nope.
With that'll be changing a little bit. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we again had to reimagine an in-person party to an online event. Very common tale. We're still going to have brief performances from a selected group of visiting artists this season. And we're working with 2 local restaurants, one on the Iowa side, one on the Illinois side, to be equitable. And they will provide dinner for the show. So once you buy a ticket, you get to pick out your options from the menu. You get to go to the restaurant day of the show, which is in 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
October 15th is the first one.
Good. So in 2 weeks, people would be able to go to the restaurants, pick up their dinner. They could go home. If they want to have people over, we're letting them decide. But if they want to be, you know, safe and cautious in their own residence with their own family, they can sit down, enjoy the food, and watch the performance. And it's going to be set up 20, 35 minutes, I want to say, for the performance. So it's very similar. The only thing is there's, you know, it's not in person, but we're doing the best we can.
Yeah, I think, you know, we're doing the best we can, being safe. The nice thing is that I think the 2 restaurants are great choices. It's Crust in Bettendorf and the Combine in East Moline.
Mm-hmm.
And our first pass performance will be steel drummer John Patty. So really excited. You know, one of these days we're actually going to get to meet John in person. You know, he's done quite a bit for us and just really been very involved. But it'll be nice to see the performance. Hopefully, he'll be back in here next year. But all this information is we'll share some slides at the end of where they can find more information. But it's on our website, and tickets are available. So if you want to learn more and check it out, there are options. If you don't want to do the dinner route, you can just get a link for the show as well. So I think it'll be fun. It'll be exciting. Something a little change of pace for some stuff. So Margo, back to visiting artists here. Well, actually, real quick, I think it's good to point out one of the biggest reasons for Pass is that those ticket sales and that goes to support the visiting artist series. The series itself, obviously there are a lot of expenses associated with it, and to make things of this caliber happen, it just helps offset some of those costs. So obviously, you know, this year and in past years, you get hors d'oeuvres and you get food and you get a great show, but you're also really helping to make sure that we're able to put artists in front of 33,000 students. So so Margo, back to the visiting artist series. What do you love most about the visiting artist series?
I guess that it's stupid big, and I mean that in a loving way, because I know it really well. I've been with it for 5 years. It's just a big project. It's like I said, it's massive. But it's really important work, especially when you think about the kids that wouldn't otherwise get to attend a live theater production, or they don't get to see live dance with a variety of dancers and dance genres, because that's just not part of their daily lives. I'm thankful that somebody long ago thought, hey, let's create a position, an actual job that's paying in the arts, for someone to direct the series, because it wouldn't be something like this performance here in an elementary school if it was just volunteers. Volunteers can do a lot, and we're thankful for what they do. And sometimes you need to have someone who's working on this year-round, full-time, that's my job, to get this program going and maintained, because it's been this is our 47th season, and you can't just, you know, piece it together after 45 years. I get to go to conferences, I get to go to showcases, I get to meet all these wonderful performers and agents. And then I bring it back to the Quad Cities. And besides, there's this picture that we just showed. Who else gets to sit in an elementary gym on a random October Monday afternoon listening to Canadian jazz? Anybody else? No, it's just me. And I love it because that's my job, and it's just incredible.
Excellent. obviously you're very passionate about it, which is great to see. Can you share some of your favorite memories?
Okay, you didn't give me a number list, so I'm taking advantage of that. So I'm like, I have a ton. I'm sorry. So just from last year was a great season. I wish we could have done the exact same thing again, but okay. So last year we had a public concert from this amazing string quartet, Harlem Quartet, at Trinity Anglican Church in Rock Island. It was magical. It's a string quartet, so they have wooden instruments, and they're in this beautiful church space. We've got a performance clip here from the concert because I got to sit up front and I took video. And the church is built at the Civil War era. Everything's wooden. The floor is wooden, and they're playing these instruments, and you could just feel the music coming up through the floor and into the pew. It was extraordinary. So that was Harlem Quartet. If you don't know who they are, go look them up. Go do something. This is your homework. No quiz, but you get homework. We also had that jazz quartet from Canada, the Alice and Al Quartet, and they played in front of the distilling tanks at the Mississippi River Distilling Company in LeClaire, which, you know, it's one of the things that makes us special locally is having this company and then putting this great Canadian jazz ensemble in front of them. That was cool. We've actually got a clip, not just a photo. So that was the first time we got to work with the distilling company. And if you have a space, if you are a business person, if you're a community organization, and you're like, well, hey, we could do that. Yeah, you could. When we get back to in-person events, just, give us a holler. We'll be glad to figure out something. We also had a family glow party with DJ Dan Quinn. He's from Dallas. He runs an organization that teaches kids how to do DJing, and this was the glow party we had. It was at the River Music Experience, and it was something. Okay. It goes a little longer, and then the gentleman that you might have noticed in the middle with the shirt, he busts a move. And, when we've got a variety of concerts, sometimes they're very sedate and they're very refined, and sometimes it's like random guy busting it out on the dance floor. So I love that. We also had a life-size inflatable military tank on stage. Well, author Rick Beyer talked about the Ghost Army of World War II. We got to collaborate with the Central DeWitt Performing Arts Center in DeWitt, Iowa, and they let us use their space, and we got to put Rick Beyer up there, and he's got this giant tank that, when he says it's a life-size inflatable tank, you're like, yeah, it'll be a balloon. Nope, there it is. That was great. And it's a replica of what they actually used in this Ghost Army unit in World War II to create deception, to create safety for movement of American troops. So, that was just really interesting. Last year, we also had our first beer choir event at the Galena Brewing Company at their Moline Ale House. We had an early music group from Minneapolis, the Rose Ensemble, and they let us all in song, and they sang, and they played a little bit, and we got to have a little beverage. It was lovely. And it's very unique because we've never done a beer choir. There they are all the way in the front by the windows. We had a great turnout. People participated. I learned some songs. I did not know we're drinking songs. I got to sing, which I don't normally do.
I mean,
It
after
was,
a couple beers, I mean, that's
yeah.
kind of the point,
Oh, yeah.
right?
And the funny thing was that people were just there to go have, their afternoon libation. And then they sort of hung around. And then there were people that were just sitting at the bar, had no idea what's going on. And then they're just chiming in and singing along. And oh, sure. So it was a good, unexpected community event. We've also had concerts at First Presbyterian Church in Davenport. We use Galvin Fine Arts Center at St. Ambrose. So we get to collaborate with a lot of people. Again, if you want to collaborate with us, we play well with others.
Gosh, Margo, that was like a delightful trip down memory lane. It feels like more than just a year ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, the beer choir event was a lot of fun. Kind of not sure exactly what to expect or how many people would be interested, but it was a lively evening and
Oh
just
yeah.
so much fun. So
Yeah.
yeah. I think that we could fill, another hour just kind of reminiscing about stories and past things about the Visiting Artist series. But there's more to you than just Quad City Arts and the Visiting Artist series. So, Margo, what do you like to do in your spare time? What are your hobbies?
I do have a family with a husband and 2 kids, plus a senior dog, and I have a photo to share with you. This is our beloved Wrigley. He's now 14. There's our Wiggles, Pickles, as we call
Aw.
him. Good boy. I don't have a whole lot of free time because we're caring, everybody's home. I do like gardening when I can get outside the house. I'm a news junkie, clearly, because as a journalism teacher, I try to read a lot of newspapers. I read long form journalism. Again, if you don't know what that is, go Google it. I also do horseback riding. I'm studying dressage, it's not a Western saddle, it's an English saddle, and it's the form of riding that was based on cavalry movements. So
Mm.
if you're thinking about how do you do combat on a horse and how do you engage with your enemy, you have to be very much in control and you have to be very much rider. You have to have a quiet seat, and it's very formulaic. And there's my Dan. Dan is the horse that I lease. And he's part of the organization that runs the barn where I ride, and I'm actually a board member of that organization as well. So I love my nonprofits. They do great community work, and without it, I wouldn't have my role here at Quad City Arts, and I wouldn't have Dan. His full barn name is Dan. His show name is Come Dance With Me, but we call him
Mm.
Dan, and he is a senior as well. So we have to take care of Dan.
I seem to, it looks like you're missing photos of you riding a horse. I don't know.
Yeah.
We skip those.
Nobody takes them. I mean, when you're at the barn, it's everybody's so busy doing the work. Nobody's like, excuse me, moment for selfie.
Photo
No,
op.
photo op. Something's either sneezing or dusty or gum stepped on or pooping. So you don't really say, oh, let me drop this and get my phone. That's true.
Oh, excellent. Well, Margo, I also happen to know that you enjoy sports. You're actually, you might be. I think outside of myself, you're the only one in the office that I could even have a sports conversation with. And I would also contend, admittedly, you are much more of a sports fan than I am. But so I'm curious. Wild card started this week for the playoffs. So, who's your pick for the World Series?
I have a photo to prove that I'm nutters. And this year's been bad in a lot of ways. But there I am with my lovely outfit a couple winters ago with my Red Sox hat, my Red Sox scarf. And if you know me, you know that's me, except for the winter part, you can tell. But it's my eyes. It's me, totally Red Sox. This year was awful for the Red Sox. So we're not going to mention them. It was a tough one for everybody else this year because it's a short season. It's only 60 games. There are so many variables. A lot of really good pitchers just aren't in the playoffs because their teams didn't make it. So you don't have to worry about them. And I was surprised by the outcome of the latest playoffs games. The teams that you'd expect, like the Yankees, they made it out of the wild card round. That's fine. The Astros are fine. We're not going to talk about the Astros. So it's a mix of like normal, but it's really weird. Like the Reds made the playoffs. The Padres are in the playoffs. The Marlins are in the playoffs. It's weird. So my prediction's kind of a mix of that. I'm going to go with the Rays in the American League. They're going to make it to the World Series. The Padres in the National League in the World Series because they've got all of my players that I love that left the Red Sox. They also have Fernando Tatis Jr., and he's hitting home runs like it's nobody's business. But I'm going to go with the Rays and 5 games over the Padres.
All right, I'm going to hold you to this. I'm going to just...
It's only on the internet forever.
That's right. That's right.
Supporting the Rays and the Padres.
Oh, there I am. Man. Well, excellent. All right. Margo, I guess real quick, anything else you'd like to add? Anything you want to share? Anything you want to say hi, Mom, or...
Oh, yes. Oh, hi, Mom. My mom is not of the tech-savvy ilk. She's going to need my help to help her load this website and the whole video onto her computer so she can watch it. And then she'll say, where did I go? And I'll have to show it to her again. But anyway, hi, Mom. Hello, all of my former students from all of my schools, especially Wilton High School. I'm glad you made it out. Good job. I've got a lot of former colleagues. I've got a lot of friends that have actually retired. And bless you, I know from working at Quad City Arts, a lot of our volunteers are also retirees, and they are the busiest people. They're even busier than when they were working. So I'm glad that all of you are retired and working so hard, making our community better. Also, keep in mind that when we do scheduling for the Visiting Artist Series, I set it up, but I don't schedule it. Somebody has this idea, and they approached me and said, well, why did you pick this for our school? What do you mean? I don't know what your schedule is. I don't know what you want. It'd be like going into a restaurant and the chef saying, here's your mac and cheese. Nobody does. No. I ask the teachers what they want, and the teachers pick. So just keep that in mind. I also have a little soapbox. Here's a little soapbox. The Visiting Artist Series is truly, it's a hidden gem. We serve a lot of students and a lot of community members. But most people don't know what the program is or that it's from Quad City Arts. Hopefully this program will help ameliorate that. Also, when I talk to artists that participate, they tell me, oh, this is great. I wish we had this when I was a kid. They understand the value. They can see it as adults looking at students, being engaged with students, getting some content out there. And they're like, oh, this is a really great program. Yeah. But I mean, it's nice that they recognize it and they tell us that. But every so often, we also get an artist that will tell me they did have a program where artists came to their schools, they did performances, and those artists loved it. And it had a big impact on them, and it helped them see a future as a potential performing artist themselves. And it was that little extra push as a role model for them. So there's some good things going on just because we find all these beautiful artists and say, hey, here's a really terrible schedule. Out you go. Go visit. So yeah, good comes of it.
That's exactly right, Margo. I mean, I think we could talk at length about the values of the Visiting Artist Series and just the impact that seeing an artist has on a student, whether or not they go on to be performers. So it has a profound impact. And one of the things that we consistently get back on our surveys and feedback is that for a large number of these students, this is the only performance or performing art that they will see that year. And I think that's why we're here. That's why this program exists. And it's, when people support Quad City Arts, that's a large portion of what they are supporting. So excellent. All right, well, Margo, before I can let you off the hook, are you ready for 7 with Kevin?
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
All right. What are you currently watching on Netflix, TV, or other streaming services?
My kids don't let me have the TV. So I get to watch my kids' shows. My first grader is watching Loud House and Bluey. They're both cartoons. I recommend them both. I watch them because my kid does. My 7th grader is on her Chromebook all the time. So she makes me watch, and I'm reading this because it's weird, r/I had a stroke. It's some Reddit thread. And there's YouTube videos that talk about people with their strange, sort of mental collapse moments where things just don't come out right. She also watches Vine compilations and makes me watch Vine compilations. Burger King foot lettuce. I have no idea what that is, but it's a thing in our house. Burger King foot lettuce. If I yell it loud enough, my kids will finish it for me. I like to watch NCIS New Orleans. I don't know why, that's the one that I like. Or I watch reruns of The Office.
Oh my gosh. So many good choices there. I am almost ashamed to admit I at one point was probably watching just as many Vines as your daughter is. So
Okay.
uh, okay. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars by a Wookiee's nose. I'm earning my dorky points right there by saying a Wookiee's nose.
All right, Margo, where is the best pizza in the Quad Cities?
Taco Joe Pizza from Happy Joe's, because I grew up on the west side of Davenport. I had many birthday parties with Taco Joe Pizza. I'm sticking by it.
Perfect. Great choice. Favorite book?
You're asking an English major what
I
her
know.
favorite book is.
Yeah, can you narrow it down to one?
Okay, I have an
mean,
author, so I did. I was like, oh, okay, who do I pick? It's like picking your children. You can't pick. I could easily pick any of Bill Bryson's books. He was born in Des Moines. He went overseas, lived in England, and now he lives in New Hampshire. Sometimes I really love A Walk in the Woods. Sometimes I love At Home, where he explains that stairs are terribly dangerous and will kill you. Fact. But right now, I'd pick A Short History of Nearly Everything. Totally recommend it. Yeah.
excellent. Where is your go-to place for inspiration?
The shower. And it's scientifically proven. Go in the shower.
Excellent. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I don't know if you could guess this, so make a little mental guess. And if you know me, you can make a mental guess too and see if you're right. You probably won't be. So when I was in college, I thought I wanted to be a geologist because I loved the, Rocks for Jocks class. It was great. But chemistry, no, I couldn't do the chemistry part. So I just said, fine, no geology. I think I've said a couple times in the office that when I grow up, I'd like to be a traffic engineer to figure out how to make traffic patterns flow better. Or my sort of higher goal when I grow up is to be a weather forecaster for a baseball team, to sit in the press box, tell the team, hey, there's a cold front coming in. You're going to need to get the tarp out, roll it on. Come on, guys. And just sit there. You get to watch the game. It's great.
Margo, I am shockingly impressed right now because in my mind, I was trying to debate. I was like, weather, like meteorologist or like sports commentator. And you managed to like, hey, I'm just going to merge both of these together.
So if there's any teams, I'll take a minor league team. I'll take an independent league team. If there's anybody in like 10 years, give me some time to finish this up. If you want me to come do weather forecasting for your baseball team, hey, I'm here.
Oh, that's a great one. All right. Final question. If you could have a drink with any artist, living or dead, who would it be?
So I'm going to guess that everybody else that answers this, they have like this kind of a little answer. But of course, in the spirit of the Visiting Artist series, we're going to make that thing real big. We're going to stretch it out. So we have dance and theater and music in the Visiting Artist series. So I picked a couple people. There's so many people I love to chat with, but I picked Tracy Ellis Ross. She's an actress on Blackish. She's an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. She's fabulous on social media, super funny. So I picked her. I'd also pick Superman, who was a performer at Americans for the Arts. He is an Absoluga rapper and a fancy dancer. Again, if you don't know who Supaman, Superman is, you go look him up. He is totally worth it. Excellent rapper, excellent dancer, always moves me to tears. I'd also pick Pharrell Williams because that man is smart. He's super talented. And I'd pick Ryan Tedder. He's the songwriter and the front man for One Republic. If I could get any of those to like stop in the gallery and say hello and we could count him as a visiting artist, I'd be like, I'm done. I have done my work here. So that's what I picked.
Excellent. Margo, it's been a pleasure talking with you. So thank you for coming on 7 with Kevin Live tonight. And thanks for your passion for the Visiting Artist series in Quad City Arts.
Thank you. Thanks for, keeping this thing rolling. And thanks for making sure we all have a job and we get a paycheck and that there's still a program to look forward to, because some people would have given up this year, but we're not.
That's right. We don't give up.
Woo!
Yep. So, we pivot multiple times and make it happen. So, yeah. Margo, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks. All right. A big thanks to all of you watching. We appreciate whatever way you're consuming this, whether you're watching with us live or you're joining us at a later date, or maybe you're just binging all of our episodes right now. If that's the case, I especially appreciate that. As you can see, I'm in our gallery right now. We are open, our gallery in downtown Rock Island and our gallery at the Quad City International Airport. If you come to downtown Rock Island, a location, be sure to say hello. Our gallery, when we are open and there are other people in here, we do require masks. As always, this is a team effort, so thank you to everyone at Quad City Arts. Obviously, we got to know Margo a little bit tonight, but we have a lot of people that are doing great things, behind the scenes, and we're definitely going to meet them on this, on here soon, if we haven't already. Don't forget, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and visit our website to learn more. You can find out more about our Visiting Artist series at quadcityarts.com/VAS, and our Performing Arts Signature series is at quadcityarts.com/PASS or PASS. As a reminder, October 15th is going to be our first virtual pass event, a dinner and a show, steel drummer John Patty. So we will have no 7 with Kevin live that evening. But 2 weeks after that, on October 29th, we're going to talk with Chicago Dance Crash, one of their dancers, and see what they're doing, as well as, how they interacted with our Visiting Artist series in the past and what they're doing this year for it. And then 2 weeks after that, on November 12th, we will talk about Festival of Trees. It's going to be a holiday special and a day of giving and all sorts of other fun things happening here in our gallery. Obviously, very much smaller and socially distanced to celebrate that. And then 2 weeks after that, again, no show. We want you to enjoy your Thanksgiving with your family. So like I said, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Visit our website for more information. Thank you so much for watching. You all have a wonderful evening.